bloomer out, Chico, no, I know it's serious. He's already broken, you know, I know it's really serious. Do I want him to roll out? Would you? No. 'Cause you know I would hate anything to happen to him. No, I don't want to lose him. Do you really think he'll survive? Do you think he'll roll less than 5? SMC's a goner, you know, I know it's serious. Bye, 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 my buddy, goodbye. There were times when I could have rallied him. 'Cause you know, it's not like he's a 10-2 and he just got a fear promotion. He's taking the check time to Fred, and he rolled a 5 and he died. No, let me whisper a few bad words. I know it's serious. Son of a bitch.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome once again to another exciting episode of The Two Half Squads.
The greatest game in the world.
And the one and only
Yes.
podcast dedicated to it.
Advanced Squad
Yes.
Beta.
17 years in the making so far and still going.
Our
How about that,
podcast
Dave?
for ASL.
For podcast. ASL's been going on for longer than that. MMP just had their 25th anniversary
Oh, happy birthday to them.
publishing ASL and supporting it. There's a very nice article about it on Mark Pitkavich's website,
Oh, most
where he looks over the last 25 years and tells what all the things that happened and gives some of his opinions on it. It's actually a very good article.
He probably mentions us quite a bit, I imagine.
Oh yeah, he can't help stop. You know, the two half squads are the second most important thing in ASL. So,
Well,
yeah,
I'll have to check it out.
yeah. So, yeah, welcome everybody, and we're glad you're here.
Yes, I'm Dave.
I got back from my fishing trip, my spring fishing trip. I used to only go once a year. Now I go twice a year. And once again, I excelled by not fishing at all.
Go, Jeff.
Yeah. I'm a fair weather sportsman. And it was like 70 degrees here in Chicago and sunny. And we drove 5 hours north and it was 50 degrees and rainy. And the guys had on, the other two guys that I went with, who I've been with we go fishing like for the last 30 years. They have all the rain gear and the extra rain gear and the double rain gear. And they don't mind getting wet. So they went out and caught fish, which was good. Good thing for a fishing trip. And I sat in the cabin and sipped a little whiskey, smoked a cigar, read my book. I should write my book. I was always reading my book. I should be writing my book.
You should have written your book. You should start
Yeah.
it at least.
Yeah, at least get started.
And you didn't
Chapter
take,
one.
you didn't have any time to study some ASL rules and write up a quiz
You
show.
know, I thought I was going to, as I was packing up my case. I always take a lot more than I think I should.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe I'll take the rule book with me, and it didn't make the final cut after all. We were only gone 3.5 days, so
Yep.
I'll just get back to it here. So that's what I would. That's where I was all weekend.
And the
Where were you?
highlight of your trip, just the
Highlight
cigar.
was
The cigar.
the cigar and eating fish.
Excellent.
I mean, they did catch enough fish, and just small fish like perch and stuff like that. And they love it. They love catching it. They love filleting them. They got all the little tools, and then we take them to the restaurant. There's a restaurant we go where if you bring your own fish, they will fry them up and serve them to you.
Oh,
So we had that for an appetizer.
but in the past, you've cooked sometimes?
Yeah, we usually cook. If we have enough, we'll cook. But this time we knew we wouldn't have enough except for appetizers. So we went out to a restaurant and
Okay.
had that done there.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was very nice. Very nice.
How was your Father's Day?
Well, I was coming back from fishing on Father's Day, so it was kind of a non-event.
Postponed.
Yeah, so next week or something.
Yeah.
We'll be celebrating Father's Day. How about you? You have kids, don't you?
I got this cool T-shirt.
What? Oh, that is an awesome T-shirt. And for those of you who are not watching, Dave has got this shirt pulled up over his head and he's showing his bare belly. Wow, that's pretty exciting. No, it's full of dinosaur skeletons. I see what's the big one there? They don't call it a brontosaurus anymore. Is it a brachiosaurus?
It is a brachiosaurus,
Okay.
but isn't there different types of them, right? Yep. But anyway, we got that at the when we went out west, Denver, remember Colorado, the dinosaur museum.
I remember Colorado. Yeah.
And Aaron, I went, that'd make a great Father's Day gift. So he grabbed it. They didn't have a 2XL, so we went with the XL. I thought maybe if I'm good and yay, I can wear it.
Yeah.
It's quite comfortable.
It's always tough when you get a nice gift that you need to lose 15 pounds to get into.
Yeah. Got a drawer of those.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's nice. It's got a good look.
So anyway, we had a blast. We played tennis, all three kids, Laura and I, and 5 people playing tennis poorly, rotating a person in each game.
Yeah.
And switching teams a little as you rotate around the court. Just nice. A blast. So
yeah.
Really enjoyed it indeed.
And did you get any other gifts? Like, for those of you who don't know, Dave often gets really exciting gifts like bush terrain for his miniature games, or a cactus terrain.
Yep.
A 3D printed horseshoe.
No, but we showed him last show. We showed him the finished swamps made with the kids' terrain. And Adam and Megan split me a Godzilla eating gnomes to sit in the garden.
Okay.
So he's got his foot on a gnome screaming out, and then he's got one in his mouth and one in his other hand. And so.
Oh, cool. Oh, you'll have to show that.
Yeah, Laura not too into that, so I had to kind of hide it down in the shrubs in the back. So we'll see if you can spot it next time we're out there.
Oh, so it's in the yard?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Until Laura sees it and says, get it in the basement.
Yeah.
So, yes, in the world of ASL, we still, I think, have 4 more interviews from March Madness. We are lining up Pete Schelling of Poniri fame, and we also are lining up Mr. Logan, Richard Logan, just a regular ASL guy. But it's a whole lot of content, and we have Dennis Donovan sometime soon doing a box art review. And
excellent.
It's too much content. We better just get to it. Right now we have Keven Adams from the March Madness interview. Here's
cool.
Keven. All right. This is Dave. And I'm still where am I at?
Kansas
City. March Madness with a person we have not ever interviewed before. I think the listeners are getting tired of hearing me interview like the same guys over 15 years of doing this.
Right.
Right. And this is Keven Adams.
Hi.
So, Kevin, tell us about yourself if you would.
Sure. I work at Kawasaki up in Maryville, Missouri. I moved there in 2007 with my family, and I come down here to the Kansas City club and have days that we set up and play ASL. And then I never miss March Madness in March every year.
So, how many years?
Well, my dad and I, we started squad leader in 1977.
Oh,
when
no.
I was only 9 years old.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you have to be younger than me.
Yeah.
I'm 64.
I'm 56, going to be 57.
So I was going to call you one of the young guys.
Yeah.
Right. So starting, then you said 77. My mind is blown.
Right. Yeah. I was just a little kid.
Okay.
And we started out with squad leader. And, I think we got through about Crescendo of Doom. And then when ASL came out in 85, we switched completely over to that. Just because my dad and I, we were the only two that played that we,
Yeah.
the only people that were interested in it in my little club. But we really enjoyed ASL because of the different defensive fire principles, the way they changed that in ASL. To me, it made it such a much better game.
Yeah.
So that's when we got involved in ASL. And I've been playing it kind of ever since. So
Yeah. Well, and I think John Hill had put that same mechanic into a Civil War miniatures game with the first fire and then the subsequent, which made that a better miniatures game too.
I haven't played squad leader in years, but the one I remember is the tracking markers and bringing them back in squad leader.
Yeah, and I never played, but I've heard of that.
Yeah, and that to me, I thought the defensive fire, happening during the movement phase made everything so much better.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion. But I've been playing for quite a few years. Really enjoy it. I love coming here. I'm trying to get down to Texas for their tournament this year. I've always kind of had other family issues come up, that I wasn't able to take the time to go down to Dallas or Texas, and go to that one. But I know Rick real well. He comes up and Ryan-ish, he comes up here and he's I know I've heard what a great tournament he puts on down there in the Texas club. And I'd really like to go down there. So one of these years, I'm gonna set some time aside.
Yeah, the podcast has not made it either.
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw Ryan-ish at the table over there, I said, Rick, hey, Dave, remember me? And glad to see you. And he goes, I'm going to get on you to get down to Texas.
Right.
I said, yes, I know. That's okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've never even made it to St. Louis yet. And that's another one that I'd really like to. Yeah. That's another one that I've heard is well worth the trip. So
yeah, I will be getting to it with maybe my friend Jeff or not.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, knock on wood. But, so then, so you do like the tournaments? You've been at this a while.
Yep, I like that. And another thing I really enjoy, I've designed a couple of scenarios for the Kansas City club here.
Oh, right.
And I just love the background, looking into that and figuring out the battleground, looking through all of our, map boards and figuring all out and coming up with the SSRs. It's really fun. I've only done a couple of them, but I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Good. And so you did the Brickworks or the factory thing?
Yep, I did the Brickworks and I did Riverfront Property in the next packet. And that one I'm not real fond of. It didn't turn out quite as good as it seemed in my head.
And this one?
No, it's a few years old. It's
okay.
It's MM47.
Okay.
Is the Brickwork. So it was a few years ago.
Yeah, the Brickworks. What was the other one?
The Riverfront Property came the next year, whichever that was.
Oh, not yet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun reading through all of Jason Mark's books, on Stalingrad, and I love the Eastern Front, so I study that a lot. That's, to me, I really like the urban fighting, the building to building and stuff. So that's kind of what my personal preference is. So I like that kind of stuff.
It's good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Especially, I think it's evident through all the games MMP and other people have put out.
Right. Right.
that focus on that.
Yeah.
I enjoy it too a lot.
Yeah.
The DCs, the close in terrain, crawling over the rubble, whatever.
Yeah.
And so on that scenario, they said it was one of the more popular ones
Yes.
that they put out here.
Yes.
Um,
I think Dan told me a couple of years ago, I think it's got more plays than any of the other ones that we've made in Kansas City. I don't know if that's still accurate or not, but yeah, people like it because it's short and it's small, and it's really every time I played it 5 or 6 times in tournaments and other games, and every time it comes right down to the last roll usually.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's I think people like it because the balance seems to be, and that was just luck. You know, I put the stuff together what I thought would be even, and then played it out a couple times solo, and it seemed,
lo and behold,
yeah,
it
and
is
it
even.
ended up okay. So yeah, but yeah, that was fun. All the research to that stuff, you know, because you know I do a lot of reading and stuff on my own anyway, so may
Yeah.
as well put some of it to use and design a scenario or two.
And so were you able to find accounts of that battle that were to that, well, I guess squad level, we would say,
Well,
or you know, more generic?
what I ended up doing is I read Into the Fire, I think it's called, by Jason
Okay.
D. Mark, and it's such a great detailed book. And I remember I read well, there's a few books I studied, but I found out about, you know, what was happening that time with the brickworks. And then the hardest part was to try to find a map board that was suitable. I didn't want more than 2 or 3 map boards, so it's a single map board, and I wanted it to be a tournament style, you know, so it's only one board, it's only 5 turns. So, you know, it's really small, you know, and I kind of like to do everything the way I enjoy. You know, I make ones that I would like. So, you know, I like them a little smaller, tournament style. I'm not into the big meaty, you know, real big scenarios usually.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I got a lot of compliments from it. People that I've played, especially when it was in the tournaments a couple of years ago when it was kind of new. People would, you know, want to play me since they found out I designed it, and it was fun. You know, it was a lot of fun. So yeah.
Yeah. And he has some toys, I imagine, or flamethrowers or pieces in that assault,
there is one thing I like on it. It's got a hero on board, which is cool because I always think it's cool to have a hero.
Yeah.
And he's got an ATR. And the only criticism I hear people say is they don't like the Russians don't have any machine guns. And I did it on purpose. And I shouldn't say on purpose, but it just, to get the balance right, it seemed like setting up fire lanes and keeping the Germans from coming in. It just seemed a little too strong. Okay. So I don't know how to put it. I guess it is on purpose, but it wasn't, you know, it just worked out better without it. Yeah. I thought the advantage to the right, you know, it would have tipped the balance a little bit if they would have gotten a couple of medium machine guns or a couple of lights.
But historically, they probably had something.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, it was interesting. It was a lot of fun doing the research. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I like reading, but I've never designed a scenario. Yeah, but like reading books like Fall of Berlin, Anthony Beaver or someone, but just the accounts of what's going on in the streets.
Yeah.
At that time, with all the crazy little kids with Panzer Fausts and grabbing old men who didn't want to fight at the end of the war like that. I'm 65. What are you doing?
Right.
Guys, traitor, and hang them up in the street. What a horrible way to go.
Right.
The thing's almost over.
Exactly.
And you're getting sprung up in this. Now that wouldn't be a scenario.
Right.
But you do have the conscripts and Folksturm and all that. But when you get an account of moving toward the building and they can talk about the DCs.
Right.
Those are cool. We're very cool.
Yeah. Yep. I remember also I added a couple of Stug 3s. And that was another, you know, just a just a balance thing. I don't like big tank battles usually in ASL, but it's kind of fun to have a little support,
Yeah.
And everything I read on Stalingrad is, it seems like the Germans always had Stug 3s and Stug 4s all over the place.
They're in a lot of those games.
Yeah, and they're in a lot of and they're in a lot of the photos and stuff that you see. So I thought it'd be appropriate to make sure I put a couple of Stug 3s in it. So, but yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
How many do you have a scenario you're working on now?
I actually am reading through a series of books, and I apologize. I just got them not long ago. There's 4 volumes, and it's kind of interesting. It's got all of the command reports for each day throughout Stalingrad, German and Russian, and then they're actually in the native language, and then translated into English. So I'm going through them all and seeing to try to find that one that's the next. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm going day by day trying to figure out the one little firefight somewhere that jumps out at me, inspire me to do it. So yeah, but there's so many. I mean, there's 4 pretty thick books, and I'm kind of working through them now to try to find something that will work.
Just kind of maybe make a note like this may be it, or this might be my second choice.
Right, and they're detailed because they're every day and they're done by the commanders, so it's all handwritten, and they're talking about specific individual tank losses, and we had this loss and that loss, and we had to redeploy to this, so it's really interesting. I love it. It's like a play-by-play on everything that happened in Stalingrad.
If you think of it, when you get back home, send us the names of those books. These interviews will air over probably like 4 months by the time we get it, and keep up on our product reviews and stuff. Then I can add them in, or
link up to it so you can see.
Or at least just email us.
I found it really interesting. If you're not interested in Stalingrad, you'd probably be bored to tears, because a lot of it is not just action. It's all kinds of supply and problems and weather, and it's got everything. In these reports, whatever the commanders were turning in. So I found it extremely interesting, but it takes a long time. You're going through a lot of it. So but yeah, that's fun for me. So
do you know approximately how many scenarios you played over your lifetime? Do you track them like I do?
I don't. I wish kind of now as an older guy, I wish I would have had a record of all of them. I don't know. If I had to guess, 300 or 400 maybe. I guess
I'm into thousands.
Yeah, I'm sure. I actually went through a little bit of a hiatus for about 10 years.
Oh, that would
where I just didn't play that much. And then when I ended up moving here and meeting Dan and the guys in the Kansas City club, that's kind of where I started really picking up my game again. And I try that. Well, now I've got grandkids. so I don't get down here every month like I used to. I used to get down here 10, 12 times, almost every month, for the club meeting and the club, playing. But now, it's a couple times a year, and I usually play a little bit. I get some counters out and move them around and kind of brush up on all my stuff, maybe 3 or 4 weeks before March Madness.
Like at home?
At home, yeah. Yep.
Do you play like solitaire games?
Sometimes I'll do a scenario, but a lot of times I'll just, pick a couple of sides and get some guys out there just to get back to the mechanic of the game, And that way I can have something come up and I'll look up a rule, and you'd think after all these years, I know that rule book.
No, yeah.
Inside and out, but there's always something, that comes up, and, we have to look it up.
It seems to me I used to know the rule.
Right.
And more often I'm looking at something going, we know this. Why are we questioning this?
Right.
We do this all the time. Why are we suddenly going, wait, is that what happens there?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you look it up and you were right.
Right.
Yeah, we were right.
It's like, that's correct. So
yeah,
that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just it's kind of like taking a practice lap, before the game. So
and I know after I read some articles and like wherever the articles are and journals, whatever, I always thinking about, well, let's lay out the tank and I'll practice doing a bounding fire shot and remembering to fire my machine gun with the next X.
Right.
And I don't ever do it, but I think it would be very good practice
Right.
to do that at home. So,
Yep. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always have a phrase, even when I get beat real bad in the tournament, it's like a bad day of ASL is much better than work. So
That's true.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Well, anything you want to add before we wrap up here?
No, I don't think so. I just enjoy it. And what's funny? It's, we're such a niche group of guys, within wargaming, you got the ASLers. And it's so cool to come to these just to be in a room with a bunch of people that have the same common interests. I love the discussions between our games. We just had something happen in my scenario with Jeff Itel that we mentioned that we might not remember who won or lost that game, but something happened that we'll never forget.
The event, event within the game.
Yeah, it was a close combat, and he had a berserker come in. We were playing Pacific Theater. He had a berserker enter and survived all the fire, during the movement phase. Gets into close combat. He K/slashes me, rolls his number. And my random selection, I had a squad, I had a crew, and I had a 9-1 leader. I threw 3 3s. Casualty reduced all of them. The crew died. The leader, we rolled a 5 on the leader. So he died. And he was a 9-1. The squad was a 7. So the half squad, that was remaining rolled, and he was broken because of the leader lost morale check. So it was just, and it changed the scenario. I mean, so it was fun. We'll never forget that. It's just one of those that,
I kind of forgot we're at a tournament. So what's your record now?
I played one yesterday that was not it was kind of a pickup game in between rounds. So I lost my first round, I won the second round, and I just won my third. So I'm 2-1.
Yeah.
Going into tonight's game.
All
so
right. Great. Good.
Yep. I always seem to make, a mistake, and a lot of the guys here just don't make mistakes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can play really well, and I mean, you got to roll well, but I mean, usually, if you make one thing that's just even maybe not a huge blunder, but just one thing that maybe you shouldn't have done, it can switch, it can change the whole thing.
I don't know if you do this, but I find that I'll have thought of it the turn before, and said that tank has to get here to stop them crossing that road. And then the turn will come. It wasn't that long ago I had that thought. And I moved the tank. Oh, there's a tank over here. I better look over here and block him from moving. And then the guy runs across the road, and you're like, I just told myself that was the only thing I could have done to block the road.
I needed to block that.
And I knew it and couldn't remember it 40 minutes later.
It's,
I have to throw smoke on that, and then get distracted, shoot at that guy instead, and then, oh no.
It's there's a lot to keep track of. And it's funny, you'd think, at least in my case, you'd think I'd be better at it. After all these years, you'd think I'd be great at it. If I played guitar for 40 years, I'd be great.
Well,
Yeah.
And with me even playing so many games, I don't know. I don't think I'm that good at all, but I don't do tournaments, so it's maybe time to stop recording and play and actually test it.
I suggest playing, even if I started playing at the tournaments when I wasn't very confident, and I took a beating.
I did a few early, but go ahead and tell us why that's good.
I was going to say it's good because you're playing guys that have really honed their skill in this rule book, and they know, they're so good at it, that I love losing to those guys because I learn something almost every game I play, and that's what makes this such a good game, I think. Because you can play it, and you can never really master it.
I mean, there's a lot of experience in that room.
There is. So. Yep. It's really cool.
Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Well, thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you officially, I suppose. And I'll look to see you around.
That sounds great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Take care. Thanks.
See ya.
And Jeff, who is the show brought to you by?
we would like to thank some of our Patreon supporters. We won't name them all right now, but we'll keep going and get them all named over the next few episodes. But first of all, we'd like to thank Bill Forg and Apollo, Andy Beaton, Chris Brown, Chris Queechy, Jeff Coward, Gordon Moloch, Greg Crane, Harry Lee, Isaac W., Jack Brown, Jeffrey Flint, Joe Bofett, John Bulla, John Hoffey,
or Hoy, yeah,
Klaus Hermans,
and Klaus. Thank you guys for your continued Patreon support, and also we thank Founding Fire Productions.
Oh, as usual, when it's time to get your husband a gift, and it's right down to the wire. Don't give yourself short shift. Just go to Founding Fire.
Yeah. All right. And we still have the other interview, Jeff. This is with Sarah Sackett and Aidan Hallman. And Sarah was the young lady playing squad leader at the tournament. We talked about her when I got back long ago from the March Madness. And so here it is. And we have Sarah and Aidan. And can you tell me a little bit about how you guys got here today, your background?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Sarah. I have been playing squad leader since I was probably 11 years old.
Now, can I interrupt? Is that advanced squad leader?
Both.
Okay.
I started with starter kit when I was young at like 10 or 11.
All right.
And then I moved to playing advanced a little after. Granted, I have not been a consistent player for that whole time. I'm 21 now in case, but yeah, my father has been playing for a very long time and he wanted to get me into it because he doesn't have a lot of people in his life he can play it with. So he shared that with me and he brought me to I went to my first March Madness in, I believe, 2013. I pulled all my shirts out today to look at them.
Oh, yeah.
So I got a commissar shirt that they bid off in a roll off in like 2014, I think, that I brought today. That is far too big for me because they were trying to bring a general size. I was probably 12 at that point, getting this XXL t-shirt. It was very fun. So yeah, I've been playing for a decent amount of time. This is Aidan, who is playing for the first time today.
I am.
We're teaching him how to play. That's part of why we're here today, is because it's like, hey, it's March Madness this weekend. We happen to be free. We have a regular game, a TTRPG group that we play with, who is not playing this weekend for reasons. So we were available, and it's like, hey, I would like to teach you how to play because you're important to me, and this is an important part of my life and my childhood.
And I we're playing in the other room right now. We just took a quick break to do this interview.
Well, I'll come in and get a picture of you guys at the table.
I'm streaming him in close combat currently.
Yes, but I think I might win the whole thing. It's going to be pretty tight, I think, regardless. It's a very fun game. It's a little complicated, but I think that's perfectly fine. I'm Aidan, and I have zero experience with squad leader, advanced or otherwise. I've played games similar to it, like Warhammer, but that one's a bit. It's different. It's definitely different. But I've definitely played games that bear resemblance to it, and I do enjoy it. The starter kit is nice. It's nice to have something to go into that isn't like a 70 or 100-page rule book or however long the advanced squad leader book is.
I may have started by showing him the full big one because they were looking at the books on my shelf and he went, oh, what's that? And I went,
because she had told me about it before and she thumped it on and I opened it and I was like, there's weather rules and ammunition and malfunction. And I was like, whoa, this is one of the more in-depth things that I've ever seen.
But kind of cool looking. Though.
Very, very, very. Right? Yes. It's a little, it like hints at like a larger community, which because no games are that big, and no games that are that complicated don't have super detailed communities. Like those really big complicated games always have like the really nice,
really
invested people. Yeah. But yeah, that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, super. I did manage to play ASL with both sons, and they didn't take to it that much. And then I do have lots of people to game with in the Chicago area where I'm at, and so I would like them to try again at some point too. But so at the tournament, you're actually in the tournament? No, you're just playing today.
We're just playing today. I competed in a junior bracket, I think once, which was 2 people, I believe. Yeah. I believe it was me and I believe his name was Sasha who would come and we would play. And I think we traded off who won every year essentially for a while.
Oh, okay.
But no, we're not competing this year. We came a little late in the day for that for one. And I need to teach him how to play first.
Yeah, I was gonna say I need to learn what I'm doing first.
You wouldn't want to.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, you just want to get into the fun of it. So then other things that you guys do in your lives and other games. So you wouldn't have this history that a lot of these guys have in here. Well, I played in 1977.
Not quite that far back. Yeah. I mean, I was only born in 2001. Yeah. So definitely couldn't have played before that. But I've actually been playing TTRPGs pretty much my entire life.
Okay.
Both of us have in one capacity or another.
Yeah. My father was one of those like OG D&D basement nerds, like playing advanced D&D, and actually it was more in the attic than in the basement. But he would. I think I was 7 years old when I went camping with my dad, and he was like with his friend who he used to play D&D with, and he was like telling me about it, and I got really excited. I was like, "Can I make a character?" And of course, he made me a character, but it was the most like mockery combination of AD&D and in the woods with a piece of paper. Your strength is this. Yeah. I have a D6 in my car. So yeah, but like I think I was 11 when I started GMing 3.5 Pathfinder. Then I moved into 4th edition, hated it. 5th edition was pretty good.
Oh man, I agree on the 4th edition thing. I don't know, it just didn't after 3.5.
It didn't feel anything like 5 or 3.5.
Yeah.
Although the only good thing I think that came out of that was the advantage system, which was very simple. And I tried 1st edition, 2nd edition, but I can't get it. THACO is a nightmare.
Yeah. There's no need to go back.
No. We've evolved. But yeah, basically, as Sarah said a little bit ago, we have a group that we play with constantly. I mean, we have a TTRPG company that we make games.
We make games as well.
Oh, well, you can. This is advertising.
I was gonna say I didn't want to hijack anything. Yeah, I was gonna say
hijack.
So yeah, we are 2 of the 4 co-owners of Forever Marsh Tabletop. So we make tabletop role-playing games. I'd say we have 3 games that we're developing currently that are in various stages of playtesting. Primarily, we go and we run them at conventions. Yep. So they're all playable, and some of them have rules that can be played with that just aren't complete. So we have a game called Deep Spacin' that is all about wacky ship combat. It's very like
70s and 80s.
70s, 80s.
Like disco.
Yeah, in space. Disco in space.
Yeah.
And it's got like its primary thing is as you go, you build your ship using like little messed up Tetris pieces that you have to stick together. And then when you have combat on your ship, you have to run around your stupid little Tetris monstrosity and either shoot at other people on your ship or
so you physically build the model to go.
They're like papers, so it's not like blocks or anything like that. It could be. We don't know the funds at the moment for that. The second, before I guess get into the second game, that game Deep Spacin' is the most complete. Like we're currently in the editing phase of the book, waiting for some art to go in, and then we, what was it? August was our cutoff for when we think we can when it will be released. Is August. But the second game is actually one that we've been working on the longest, and it's the most similar to Squad Leader, which is actually why I thought it was very interesting.
To the extent that we have been gifted a bunch of old maps by my father for purposes of playing, because Squad Leader maps work perfect for Soldiers of Steel.
Soldiers of Steel is what it's called, with a little E at the end. It's an alternate history. It takes place in the 1930s, where in the United States, where instead of the stock market crash of 1929, there was a giant eldritch alien invasion.
And
humanity was lost, and there was all sorts of, it was basically an apocalypse. but by the brilliant mind of a man named Mr. Rivet, Ernest Steele, as the Soldiers of Steel is called. Humanity has built these like diesel punk, steampunk mechs to fight back against the oddity menace. So, and the reason I say it's very similar is because it's a bit crunchier. It's text based. You know, you're moving your mechs around, fighting the oddities.
It's not nearly as crunchy.
I wouldn't say it's like if I would say it's maybe as crunchy as the starter kit for ASL. It's getting there. And the third game is actually your baby, so I will definitely let you talk about that.
That's fine. Yes. Soldiers of Steel is definitely the most well suited to this audience, I would guess.
100%.
My baby, my child, is a game called Palette Quest, which is about playing. It's a game about playing a video game, to put it very simply. So, yeah, it's
clever.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
It is. You are playing full dive. So think.
Ready Player One,
like going inside the game world, and it is a massive multiplayer online game.
I think there's like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Is it Total Recall? Is that the one where he goes into the vacation?
Yes,
is that
that's right?
Yeah, it's like kind of like that in the sense you're going into the video game.
So it's that kind of tech, and it's meant to be very bright and colorful, full of a bunch of weird creatures and NPCs that are a little too realistic for most people's liking. So it focuses a lot on the systems that are often glossed over in other games. So there's an in-depth crafting and trading and the gathering of materials are things that are some more focused. So you can fight, but I've found most people who have play tested it have had a lot more fun playing Pokemon and taming all of the creatures instead.
What I think makes that game the most interesting to me is I feel like she said, a lot of games really focus on the fighting part of adventuring, but I think she's done a very good job of focusing on the puzzles and the sometimes you can there's an entire list of mechanics for just starting a tavern, and I think that's really interesting because a lot of games don't really cover that. And I know it's our game, so obviously I'm going to like it, but the reason we started making games is because we felt like there was a lack of certain types of games in the market. You know, we would have this really interesting idea, it'd be really cool to play this kind of game, and then we couldn't find anything that really fit that niche. And so
Soldiers of Steel specifically was the first game we came up with, was born from that want of hey, we want to play a mech game, but all the mech games that exist are they weren't very customizable. So Soldiers of Steel leans into building out your own weapons and what they can do.
Yeah.
Started this company together and have been kind of working to develop our games. And some of that comes with part of why I handed them the squad leader notebook, big booklet, was because I'm here, you need to learn more about other games. And this is a game that's way outside of the stuff that they had otherwise looked at. I'm look at what this game does, and it will help with.
We try to branch out, basically.
Man, we have we're living in a good age for this kind of stuff. Really, you guys are just coming into 100%. It, and sounds like you're going to add to it, which sounds very good. That's so I will put your name, Ty Game up here, and then a link. Do you have a webpage, or you just kind of?
We do. We have a website. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll have to get that from you before you.
She actually, I don't know if she has it on her, but she should have it.
Whatever you got.
I have a card.
Oh yeah, we'll take it.
I was I'm actually going to a gaming related thing.
Yes, so, and then I can.
There's a tiny URL on the back of that to our
and
website.
you're okay if I post it. Yeah, link it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, actually, they very much helps.
Yeah. And spread the word. Now going back to advanced squad leader.
Yes.
Remember, you can only play infantry for a long time if you want. You're probably past that, but I always encourage people, you don't have to bite off everything. Sounds like kind of GURPS. You can just play infantry only, master that, and then go, I'll work in guns. And I had a friend that took me screaming and kicking through the whole thing. He was like, okay, next we're going to try this off-board artillery. I'm like, no, we're not. That's 12 more pages. No, we're not. Let's just do the tanks and the men. Why?
I like the tanks. My favorite is close combat, which is very simple. He's getting to learn that. I have fantastic luck, I believe.
It's absurd how lucky she is.
They call me the close combat queen. I did not give myself that name. I earned that name at March Madness.
Blood.
Oh, that's fantastic too. Yeah, and it can turn so quickly one way or the other, or tie you up forever.
I have a habit of rolling snake eyes.
Yeah, that'll
insanely well. Yeah.
As he has learned.
I have learned. Yeah.
And so in your game today, what are you playing? What scenario?
Is it
I
the
forget what the name of it is.
paper army? I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
it's called it's the Italian armies running away from the pursuing Greek army.
Yeah.
I'm Greece, she's Italy,
Mhm.
and we're currently at a point where the game is all like we've got like what 1.5 rounds left.
No,
you
it's
have
only
you
one.
have one in it. You have 2 turns left.
Yeah.
And I have
Mhm. We just finished one of my turns.
I have 2 turns left, and it's my turn, and you have 2 turns left.
Yeah.
And she has to get to the end of the board.
Yeah.
She has like, I would say like 10 more spaces to go.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna run. I'm literally afraid I'm gonna run out of movement.
I think she
That would
will
be
because
hilarious.
because I've cut her. I've made my reinforcements spawn in a way that kind of cuts her off,
Mhm.
and so she basically has a choice between running out in an open field in front of my,
I will stay in the wheat.
yeah.
I'm having a great time in the wheat.
I think what she's gonna have to make a decision is whether or not she rushes out into the open field against my oncoming fire, or if she stays in the field.
In the grain field, the wheat field.
Because I have all of his original forces tied up.
Yeah,
in,
she
like,
somehow
the
tied up my
starter two
entire
buildings.
army with like 3
Because you
people.
made a mistake. You went into close combat with me.
Well, I didn't know.
And I immediately rolled.
I didn't know that was a
I
thing.
rolled Snake Eyes to win the fight, and then I rolled Snake Eyes to make my leader. So now I beat my stupid little Italians have an 8-0 leader.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You generate a leader
Yeah.
on it. See, I would forget that a lot too. But yeah.
Yes.
It is definitely one of those games that it like I kept hitting snags where I'd be like, okay, so I can prep fire. That's good to know. And then I'd move 1 space, and then they'd be like, well, now you can't prep fire because I was
It's
like,
movement time.
oh, because I was under the impression that
He's
you had to prep fire each individual unit.
Oh, right.
but-
Instead of as a phase.
exactly.
They let
but-
you go back, didn't they? Oh.
It's a crucible apparently.
We've let him do. We have been kind to him in other ways. There were plenty of times where it's been like, yes, you can undo that. We were already like 4 movements deep. in
Well,
the
yeah,
phase.
yeah.
It
yeah,
was not
yeah,
the first
no.
move. of
Yeah,
the
no.
phase. So
I was just at a, but that
I'm
that
not-
one error, that one tiny error, cost me my entire original
hey,
army.
it's okay. You had a whole stack of broken guys that we let you rally after the rally because we forgot your rally phase.
But that part's not on me because I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know you could rally on someone
Well,
else's
Right.
turn.
since you're not actually playing for the big prize.
Yeah, no,
you
it's
can-
fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
fine. We're just learning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's great
He's
to
a-
hear
he's a
that you
bastard.
are, and your endeavor sounds wonderful here too.
Yeah.
So I'll link that up and
I appreciate
let
that.
you guys get back to your game. I
course.
guess,
Thank you.
huh? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time
Uh-huh.
today.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Dave, I thought you were kidding me when you said there was a female playing ASL. I couldn't believe it, and now I believe it.
Yep. And her boyfriend there. Fantastic young people. So nice to
There's
interview young
there's
people.
probably a whole underground movement that we don't even know about.
Yeah. Well, we should
We're
start-
so out of touch with what's going on. ASL might be huge in like grade schools
It could be. Yeah.
and like for sororities. Might
Yeah.
be the big thing for sororities. We don't even know.
Sure that is.
Yeah,
And,
but it's interesting hearing them talk about their love of gaming and making their own game and stuff like that. That'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Yeah. Yeah. Very creative couple of young
Yeah.
gamers. So good
Yeah.
to see. Well, that'll be a show then.
Wow, it went quick.
It did. Yeah, Jeff, and I think we ran out of time to cover what we were going to talk about.
Yeah, our main topic, which was that we played ASL every day for 30 days, and we wanted to say what happened, how it changed our lives, but we're out of time.
We're out of time, everybody. Maybe have to tune in next time. Roll low,
And really well.
but not
not
when you're
playing
playing
us.
us. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.